Today we have a very full camera bag. It's one of the fullest camera bags I've taken out in a long time, and it is related to the theme of the video. So I'm going to quickly get set up and then I'll tell you all about it. The reason I have so much equipment, mainly a ton of tripods with me today, is because we are doing wildlife photography on an overcast day. As you can see behind me, the sky is full of clouds. The lighting is very dim today, and I'm going to be using my Sigma 150 to 600mm lens. This has an aperture of 5.6 to 6.3, which means we need as much light as we can to be able to use this lens for wildlife photography. Today we're going to be doing it in two environments. You can see behind me there's a forest. We're going to go into that forest, as silly as that sounds, because in a forest there's very little light. But I'm going to talk you through how we can do wildlife photography in a forest even when there's very poor lighting. And then we're going to head to the edge of a river where there's lots of long grass, like you can see here. And that is where my jacket should really come in handy for camouflage. On a cloudy day like today, when there isn't a ton of light to offer, we want to make sure our camera settings can be as low as possible. That means we want our shutter speed to be as low as possible. We want our aperture to be as wide as possible, allowing as much light into the camera as possible. To help with this, we can use stabilization such as a tripod. This is going to help to keep the camera still so that we don't have to compensate with a higher shutter speed, and we don't have to use a higher ISO to make up for any higher shutter speeds. Today I've got with me my regular three-legged tripod, and I've got my heavy-duty gimbal head, which is really good if you're using a large lens such as the Sigma 150 to 600mm lens. If you're not using such a large camera setup, you can use a ball head and that will be perfectly fine. So when you come into a forest like this, you need to be aware that when you set your tripod up, you're relatively limited to that one spot. And this is why scouting is so important. Find out where the wildlife is in the area that you're going. Find out where the animals like to be. Also find an area where you can see multiple environments so that you have multiple chances to get lots of different wildlife. Once you set your tripod up, you will be stuck, and that's why this scouting is so important, especially on a cloudy day where you have to commit to choosing one spot, which is going to be the area in which you get all of your photos. I haven't scouted this part of the forest yet, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to be here, but when I find my spot, I'll set up and then I'll talk you through taking the photos. We have zigzagged through this entire forest and not really found anywhere which has particularly jumped out as where I want to set up and do wildlife photography until now. You see, we've come all the way to the opposite edge of the forest to where we started, and there's a stream. Now, while walking up, I saw quite a few birds fly away, and I was upset that I distracted them and I scared them off, but birds need to drink. And so I'm thinking if we set up here, just in amongst these trees, we are on a path, so there's every chance people will walk by. But hopefully they won't, and the wildlife will come to this river and we can take pictures of them having a drink. You see, there's this big shallow area here, which I'm hoping is going to be great for wildlife. So I'm going to set up here and then sit and wait. Quite a long way down the river, we have a bunch of birds. It's a flock of young tits. So we've got some great tits, we've got blue tits, there's the odd long-tailed tit in there. Now I'm having to use manual focus because they're currently through the branches of a tree and they're too far away to get a good photo or video of. However, I do have a video playing and here are the little birds cleaning and drinking in this river. This is super exciting. I've been here about 15 minutes and to have that many birds all come in confidence and not be frightened by me, it's a promising sign for the next hour or so. Fingers crossed we'll get some awesome wildlife come to this river. And there is so much wildlife here, it's actually nuts. So I got a picture of a chiff-chaff down in the stream, and here it is. And I also got a picture of a woodpecker over on a tree, both at a shutter speed of 160. And this is why sometimes risking it is worth it. You can get great photos at a crazily low shutter speed. I also have my Merlin app open here. Now, if you don't know about this app, it's an app which will listen to the bird call in the area. It will identify the birds, and then you can look at the shape of the bird song on a graph above. We have had so much wildlife. We've had great tits, blue tits, magpies, long-tailed tits, tree creepers, robins, blackbirds, firecrest, wren, and coal tits, as well as the chiff-chaff I've seen and the woodpecker. There is an incredible amount of wildlife in this spot. And for the final picture in this location, I took a picture of a robin. He was over on a log across on the riverbed, and he was a long way away. I was zoomed in at 600 millimeters, and I thought, what if I did a long exposure? It was sitting relatively still. So I put my shutter speed down to 1/30th of a second. At 600 millimeters, this is something I do not advise in the slightest. However, it did allow me to get a very well lit picture of a robin in a very unlit area. I burst about 10 photos. I'd say 2 of them were in focus to the extent that I can use them. The rest of them all had a bit of blur in them because of the camera movement. But that's what it's about. So yeah, I put the tripod, I locked the tripod completely still, burst the pictures, and here is the robin photo with such a low shutter speed. It shouldn't even be allowed. And we have made it to our second location. Here behind me, you can see I have a river. And then round to the side, we have all of the grass. Now the grass is great for birds such as warblers, and the river is obviously great for birds like ducks. Now this area has much better lighting. There are no trees above us, and water and pale grass all reflects light, meaning that for the wildlife photography, we should be able to up that shutter speed a little bit more than 1/30th of a second. Now, since coming here, I haven't seen much wildlife. You often get birds of prey circling above and little birds flying here and there. We're also going to look out for ducks and swans. So any wildlife I find, I'm going to take pictures of and I'll update you as I go. And just along the path, there's a kestrel. My camera's pointed 45 degrees up towards the kestrel, who's currently sitting on one of the cables. Now behind this kestrel, it's a pure white sky. the overcast clouds are just white, slightly grey, and so I'm having to do the ISO manually. My settings currently for filming are 50 frames per second. I've got my aperture on 9 and I've got my ISO at 100. For the pictures, it was similar. Now the Kestrel has just flown away. Let me stop that recording. And for the pictures, the settings were similar. The aperture has to be high again to stop chromatic aberration against the white sky. Sorry, bit in the way.
Sorry?
Bit in the way. No problem. Got interrupted by a cyclist. I have no idea where I was, but what I do know is we have now managed to get a picture and a bit of video of wildlife here by the river. That's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you've learned something new about doing photography on an overcast day. Hit that like and subscribe and I will see you in the next one.